Toronto's Mayor Rob Ford and his city councillor brother Doug Ford took to the airwaves for a couple of hours this afternoon, their regular weekly radio talk show here in Toronto, and they wasted little time going right on the attack. Now, this is the first time that they have had this radio broadcast since these allegations first surfaced about a week and a half ago. Front page news on the Toronto Star on U.S. website Gawker.com. Allegations about a video that appeared to show Mayor Rob Ford smoking what looked like crack cocaine. Now, again, CBC News has not seen this video. We can't independently verify whether it even exists. But Rob Ford came out right away at the top of the hour with some choice words for the members of the media. Take a listen.
Obviously, I want to address these false accusations or allegations, whatever you want to call it, against me and against you. This is all ridiculous. No matter what you say, I found out to the media, you're never going to make them happy. You can give them 10 bars of gold, and they're going to want, why don't I get 15 bars of gold? Well, you know what, folks, that's the media that we have, unfortunately. And they're all getting painted with the same brush.
There's a lot of nasty. I think it's
2%.
80%. Well, yeah, 80% of them are nasty son of a guns.
Bunch of maggots.
Now, Mayor Rob Ford had to leave after the first part of that program. He said he had a family engagement, but his brother, you saw there, Doug Ford, picked up and continued the attack, going further, suggesting that the media in this city spend $20 million a year simply attacking the Ford family, even suggesting that some members of the media involved in these accusations themselves, as he put it, are known to indulge in crack cocaine. Though, incidentally, Doug Ford himself offered no source for that information.
I understand he spent the second hour of the broadcast defending himself against the Globe and Mail's charge that he used to be a drug dealer. How did that go?
Well, that's right. In fact, Doug Ford opened the phone lines in the second half hour to take calls from members of the public. Those allegations you touched on, published in the Globe and Mail yesterday, suggesting that Doug Ford was once a prominent drug dealer back in the 1980s, that he sold hashish in his West Toronto neighborhood of Etobicoke. Doug Ford wasted little time denying those allegations when they first surfaced yesterday. Today, he opened the phone lines and even received a call from a man who identified himself as a former cop in that neighborhood. Take a listen to what he had to say.
I have never heard your name surface involving you in any type of drug culture or drug involvement of any kind. And I believe that I would be one of the people that would be most likely to have that type of information pass over my desk.
And the reason he's never heard Doug Ford's name, because Doug Ford wasn't doing that. It's plain and simple.
And in fact, we should say that the vast majority of the callers to the program this afternoon were Ford supporters, people joining their calls that the media in this region are simply on a witch hunt out to get the Fords, and that it's all a bunch of anonymous sourcing and made-up videos. In fact, Doug Ford at one point said that journalism has reached a new low, and says that the callers and the show of support is just another indication of the fact that the people on this city is supportive of the Ford family.
That is the CBC's Jeff Semple in Toronto. Well, reaction to the Ford's radio show has been pouring into social media sites, and our Asha Tomlinson has been tracking all the comments. Asha, I see still trending on Twitter, Mayor Ford. What are you seeing?
And it didn't take long for the Ford brothers to start trending on Twitter here in Canada as their weekly radio show hit the airwaves. Mixed reaction is what we're seeing on the social media sites. So here's a sample. Sui says, anybody else relishing irony of Mayor Ford whining about being victims of media elite on their weekly radio show? A little bit tongue-in-cheek there, question mark. Paul LeBlanc saying, Rob Ford asked by caller to 1010 Radio if it's him in the Gawker video, replies with another non-denial denial. Nelson Martin saying, keep it up, Toronto media. You're only making the Fords get stronger. They're keeping you employed. And this one from Trevor Dunseth that says, I totally agree with Doug Ford. Let's use our votes to tell City Hall what we want. And right throughout the show, the 2-hour program, Ford 1010, Mayor Ford, along with Doug Ford, were all trending topics.
Yeah, really interesting comments online.
Oh, yeah.
And the Ford brothers also responded to a joke from the Rolling Stones. What did they have to say about that?
Well, listen, the Rolling Stones left no stone unturned last night at their concert in Toronto. And, you know, frontman Mick Jagger took a bit of a jab at Toronto's mayor to show he's politically plugged in, I guess. Have a look.
We're not going to do any jokes tonight about the mayor or anything, okay? It's too easy. It's much too easy a target. It's a bit, you know, cheap shots. So we're not going to do any of that. We're going to crack right on with the show now.
And he apparently tried to make another Ford joke later on in the concert. Now, Doug Ford was at the concert, and he made sure to mention it to his brother on their radio show. Here's their reaction.
They said to say hello to you. Well, they did. I just find, you know, the boys there. It's kind of the pot calling the kettle black, to say the least.
Oh, that is funny.
Man, I'll tell you, I thought you were going to come up on stage with Mick Jagger there.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Of course, the Rolling Stones are on their 50 and counting tour, Christine, so that's why they're in Toronto.
Yeah,
Their next stop's
Rob
Montreal.
and Doug still seem tickled just to be mentioned.
Hey, maybe they'll get up on the stage in Montreal. You never know.
You never know. Asha, thanks for this.
You're welcome.